In this tutorial series, we will learn Python. Python is a high-level, readable programming language known for its simplicity, widely used in web development. It excels in data science, machine learning, and AI. Python's versatility extends to automation, scripting, scientific computing, and even game development. Its syntax makes coding accessible for beginners and appealing to experienced developers. With a rich set of libraries and an active community, Python is a go-to choice for various applications, from small scripts to large-scale projects.
Now let us see how to install Python in our machine. For this, just go to the browser and type Python. Just click on the first result. If you scroll down, you can see the latest version available for download. So just click on this Python 3.12. Again, if you scroll down, you can see all the files available for download. So if you are having the Mac OS, you can download this file. For Windows, there are two Windows installers available for 32-bit and 64-bit. Choose depending on your Windows operating system, 64-bit or 32-bit. Having a 64-bit operating system, so I will choose Windows installer for 64-bit. If you click on that, it starts downloading. So I will click on open. As you can see, the Python setup will look something like this. Okay, I will close one. As you can see, this is the Python setup. Before you click on the install now, just enable this option here, add Python to path. Just click on this option and then click on the install now. Since I have already installed the Python already, I will cancel this setup, what it will look like after the install. So in the search bar, just type IDLE Python. As you can see, it's available here. Now let's test the Python in our command prompt. Open your command prompt and type cmd. So if you type Python now, just press enter. As you can see, it displays an interpreter. You can type all the Python statements here. So let's print our statement here. Hello world. We are displaying a simple message here, print of hello world. It will print the hello world. Just press enter. As you can see, it displays the hello world. So thus we have successfully installed the Python in our machine. For the first topic, we will discuss what is variable. So you have values like 5 or you have a string value like hello. How do you store them? Where do you store them? So this is where variables comes into picture. Variables are like containers for storing these values. In Python, there is no specific command for declaring a variable. Variable is declared the moment you assign a value to it. We can assign a value to a variable by using the assignment operator. For example, x equal to 5. Here you have assigned a number to a variable x. Here x contains the value 5. You can also declare the string variable y equal to hello. Now this y contains the value hello. You can also perform casting on these variables. Casting means you can change the data type of one variable to another data type. For example, since this x contains the integer value, you can change the integer to string data type. For example, you can use the built-in string function to change the integer to string data type. Now the x contains the value of 5, which is a string. Now we have declared the values here. How do we actually print the values? For this, we have something called the print function. Using this print function, you can print the value inside the variables. As you can see, it displays 5. If I print y, it displays hello. So this is how you print the values inside the variables. And for the string here, you can use the single quotation or double quotes. This is your preference. Both should be working fine. So use either single quotation or double quotation. Here Python is a case sensitive language. That means here the small x and capital X values are both different. So if I print them now, so print our small x, and if I print the capital X, both values will be different. As you can see, small x contains the value 5 and the capital X contains the value hello. So this is what I mean by the case sensitive. Now there are certain rules to be followed when declaring a variable names. The variable should always start with a letter or underscore. This is a valid name and this also valid name, but you cannot start a letter with number. If you run it now, you will get a syntax error. So this is the rule number 1. You should either start with underscore or a letter. You do not use special characters or number at the beginning of the variable name. Now the variable name can be like a single letter or it can be more descriptive like my number, or let's change this to my string. So please always use a more descriptive name for the variables, because then only the other programmers, when they read your code, they will know what this variable does. Oftentimes when the variable contains more than one word, it leads to confusion. To avoid this confusion, there are 3 techniques followed among programmers. And the technique number 1 is the camel case, where you will capitalize each word except the first word. Here you will capitalize the second word, that is number, and the string will be capital S. So this is the camel case. And the Pascal case will be where you will capitalize all the words. As you can see, you will capitalize the first letter of all the words. This is the Pascal case. And the third one is the snake case, where you will separate each word with the underscore. And this will be my underscore string. So this is how you use camel case in variables name. Now let us see the concept of global variable and local variable. Here I have defined a variable outside the function. Don't worry about the function. We will discuss what is function in the later videos. So the moment you define a variable outside any function, then it will be called as global variable, because you can access the variable inside any function. As you can see, we have accessed the variable x inside this hello function. So this is the usage of global variable. Local variable means you will use the variable inside the function only. So we have using a variable x inside this function, and let's just print the value x here. And let's just print the same variable outside the function as well. Let's see what this value will be. As you can see, the value of x inside the function is 8 and the value of x outside the function is 5. So this is the scope of the variable. This is the local variable and this is the global variable. One question you may have is, how can I access the global variable inside the function? For this we will use the global keyword, global of x. Now this global keyword is used to modify the global variable inside the function. If I print here, this is outside the function. As you can see, inside the function is the value is 8, outside the function also the value is 8. This is how you use a global variable to change the global variable's value. So this is all about variable. In the next video we will see the different data types available in Python. In this video we will see the different data types available in Python. Python data type is used to define the data type of a variable. It defines what type of data or value we are going to store inside the variable. Python has many built-in data types, as you can see in the diagram. It has number, string, dictionary and sequence. And in the number you have 4 different types. You have integer, float, complex and Boolean. And in the sequence you have 3 types, that is string, list and tuple. So let us discuss each data type one by one. First we will see the integer. Integer is a numeric data type. It contains the whole number without the decimal point. For example, x equal to 10, or it can be 20. It is any number that doesn't have a decimal point. So on the other hand, if you look at the float, you will have a decimal value, that is 15.9, or it can be anything like 78, any number followed by the decimal point. This is the float data type. And the next one is the complex. In complex, you have two parts, the real part and the imaginary part. Here 10 plus 5j. In the mathematics, you will write 10 plus 5i, but in the Python, we will use j instead of I. So here 10 is the real part and 5j is the imaginary part. This is all about the complex. And the next is the Boolean. Boolean has two values. It can be either true or it can be false. For example, t equal to true, or it can be false. These are all the two values that are available in Boolean. You can check the data type of these variables using the type function. For example, I am going to print. So inside the print type of x, if you use the type function, it will return the data type of the variable. For example, type of x. So let's run now. As you can see, it belongs to the class of integer. So let's check the data type of this complex. So type of z. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, it belongs to class of complex. Now let us see the type of Boolean now. So type of t is equal to, as you can see, it belongs to the class of Boolean. These are all the data types that are available under the number data type. Now let us move on to the sequence. In sequence, you have three data types available, that is string and list and tuple. So let us discuss the string now. String is a sequence of characters. For example, x equal to hello. Here hello is a string because it is the sequence of 5 characters and it is enclosed within the double quotation or single quotation. Here I am using the double quotes. You can use the single quotes if you want. So you can replace the double quotes with the single quotes as well. You can access the individual elements of a string using the index number. For example, this h has index number of 0. Remember that the index number of string always start from 0, and E has 1 and L has 2, and this L has index number 3 and O has index number 4. You can access the first character of this string using its index number. So I am going to print x of, inside this square bracket you pass the sequence number for the character you want to access. For example, the index number of this h is 0. So print of x of 0. This should return as h. As you can see, it displays h. If you want to access E, then pass its index number. E has index number 1. So x of 1. As you can see, it returns E. You can also access the same value using the negative index as well. For example, 0 has negative index of -1, and this L has -2, and this L has -3, and E has -4, and H has -5. For example, if you want to access the E using the negative index, you will use the -4. So x of -4, it will return E. As you can see, here we have E here. So this is all about the brief overview of string. Now let us move on to the string. String data type in Python is enclosed by a square bracket. Inside the square bracket, you will have different data type items separated by commas. Python list is very similar to arrays in C, except that in arrays in C, the elements in the array should have the same data type. But in the Python, you can have different data types. For example, I am going to define a list here. So list 1 equal to, you will use the square bracket for list, and inside this I am going to have 1 and hello. As you can see, this list contains two data types. This one is a integer and this hello is a string data type. This is what I mean by the list can contain different data types. So in array you can't do that. Array contains the same data type. So this is the difference between the list and the array. You can also access the individual elements of this list using is index number, just we have seen for the string. So the first element contains the index number 0 and this hello contains the index number 1. So print of list 1 of, use the square bracket here as well and pass the index number for the value you are trying to access. For example, if you want to access hello and it has an index number 1, so list of 1. If you run it now, as you can see, it displays hello. And another thing about list is that you can change the value of your element inside the list. For example, if you want to change the hello to hi, you can use its index number. So list of, and the square bracket, inside the square bracket just pass the value that you want to change its index number. So list of 1 is equal to, now type the new value, list of 1 equal to hi. So let's print our list now to see how it looks like. As you can see, the value has been updated. This is all about the list. Now let us move on to tuple. Tuple is very similar to list and it has a elements inside the parenthesis, that is tuple 1 equal to parenthesis of, and you will have elements separated by commas. So you have 1 and you have hello. This is very similar to list, and the difference is that you cannot change the value in tuple. For example, if you try to change the value in tuple, you will get a error like this. For example, I am trying to change the first value to 10. So if I save this and run now, you will type that, you will get a type error. As you can see, tuple object does not support item assignment. This is the major difference between the list and tuple. So now let us move on to dictionary. Dictionary is another data type where you will have key value pair and you will separate each key by a comma. So the key value pairs are enclosed within a curly brace. For example, dictionary, this is the variable name, is equal to open and close curly brace, and inside this you will have a key and colon value. So this is the syntax, key value, and the value can be anything. It can be string or it can be numeric data type. So let's create a one key value pair now. So I have 1 and its value will be 1. So let's create another one, 2, and its value will be 2. It can be anything. So let's type and its value will be 2, 2, 2, 2. I have defined many 2's here. So this is the dictionary we have defined. You can access the values of the key using the index, or you can use a get method. For example, dictionary of, inside this square bracket just pass the key name. If you want to access these key values, use the key name. So dictionary of 1. So let's print it. It should return the value of this key 1. So let's print it now. As you can see, it displays the value. So let's change this to hi. So let's print the dictionary of key 2. It should give us the value hi. As you can see, hi. You can also use the get method to get the same value. So inside this dot get, just pass the key name. For example, 2. As you can see, it gives us the same result of hi. And the major difference between this get method and the accessing using index is that if you try to access a key that is not defined, you will get an error. As you can see, key error, you will get a key error. But if you use the get method, you will not get any error. It just gives none. This is the difference between accessing using the index and get method. So this is all about the dictionary in briefly. Now let us move on to set. Set is very similar to tuple except that it is enclosed within the curly brace and it does not contain the duplicate values. For example, set 1 equal to, it is enclosed within the curly brace. It does not contain the duplicate values. For example, you have 2 4 here and 2 high. Let's print it now, what it will give us. So print of 1. As you can see, it removes the duplicate value. So this is the set do not allow the duplicate values. So this is all about the set data type. So now we have covered all the different data types available in Python. In the next video, we will see the operators. In this video, we will see the different type of operators present in Python. In Python as well as most programming languages, operators are used to perform mathematical operations on two operands. For example, A equal to B plus C. Here, plus is the operator and B and C are the operands. As I told you, operators is used to perform mathematical operations on two operands. Here, B and C are the operands and plus is the operator. There are different type of operators present in Python, and it is arithmetic operator, comparison operator, assignment operator, logical operator, membership operator, identity operator. We will discuss them each one detailedly. So we will start with arithmetic operator. Arithmetic operator is we use to perform addition, subtraction, division or multiplication. It is used to perform the basic mathematical operations. For example, A equal to 10 plus 5. This is the addition operation. You can also perform the subtraction. B equal to 10 minus 5. You can do the division by 10 forward slash 2. You use the forward slash for division. And for multiplication, you use the asterisk 10 asterisk 2. And for the exponentiation, you use the 2 asterisk A double asterisk 2. And for the modulo operator, you use the 10% simple 3. So modular is when you divide the number, you will get the remainder. This is what the modular operator does. It will return the remainder. You can print these variables to see the results. So print A, B, C, D, E, F, M. So let's separate the each output with a new line. So if I run this now, as you can see, for the first variable it gives 15 because 10 plus 5 is 15. That's why it returns 15. And for the second one, it returns 5 because 10 minus 5 is 5. And so for the rest. And for the modular operator, when you divide the number by 3, you will get the remainder 1. This is what it returns here, 1. This is all about the arithmetic operators present in Python. Now let us move on to comparisons operator. Comparison operator is used to compare two values. For example, A equal to 20 and B equal to 10. Let us see if A less than B. So let's print the value to see the result. So let's save this file and run now. As you can see, it returns false because A is not less than B. 20 is greater than B. So let's check the A greater than B. As you can see, it returns true. You can also perform greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or equal to equal to. You can use the equal to operator to check if two values are equal. Since A and B are now equal, let's check if the A equal to B is true or not. Since as you can see, it returns true because both these values are same. You can also perform the not equal to. For this, you will use the exclamatory symbol. A exclamatory equal to B means A not equal to B. So let's save this and run now. It returns false because A is equal to B. If you change the value of B to something else, it will give us the true. This is all about the comparison operators. Let us see the assignment operators. Actually, if you look at the variable here, this is actually an assignment operator because you are assigning value 20 to variable A. This is one type of assignment operator. In assignment operator, you have compound assignment operator, where you perform some operations and then you store the result to the variable. For example, a plus equal to 3. This is similar to a equal to a plus 3. First, you perform the addition to the a and then you store the result back to the a. This is the addition assignment. You can also do the subtraction assignment. So, a minus equal to 3. This is equivalent to a equal to a minus 3. You first perform the subtraction and then you store the result back to the a. Similarly, you can do the multiplication assignment. A star equal to 3, a division equal to 3, a exponential equal to 3, and a modulo equal to 3. So these are the operations you can perform using the assignment operators. Now let us move on to the logical operators. In logical operators, you have three: AND operator, OR operator, and NOT operator. To explain this using example, so let's take age equal to 16. So let's take 20 and marks equal to 90. I'm going to create a condition here. Age should greater than 18 and marks also greater than 85. If both these conditions are true, then it will return the true value. So let us see if age is greater than 18 or not. Since we have assigned 20 for age, this condition is satisfied. Now let us check the right hand side condition. Since mark is greater than 85, this condition also satisfied. When both the conditions are satisfied, this AND operator will return true. So let us save this file and run now. As you can see, it returns false. If any one of the condition fails, then it will return false. For example, if I change the age to 16 and see what happens. As you can see, it returns false because this condition is failed. Age is not greater than 18. AND operator will only return if both conditions are satisfied. Now let us see the OR operator. If you want to return true if either of the conditions satisfied, then you can use the OR operator. For example, if you use the OR operator here, it will return true because this condition may be false, but this condition is true. As you can see, marks is 90 and 90 is greater than 85. So this condition becomes true. OR operator returns true if any one condition satisfies. Since this condition is satisfied, it will return true. As you can see, it returns true. So now let us see the AND operator. AND operator just negates the original value. For example, a equal to false. If we print not a, it will just change the original value. We have false here, so it returns true. If I change the false to true, it will change the original value back to false. This is all about the AND operator. It just changed the original value. Now let us see the membership operator. Membership operator allows us to check whether a given element is present in a list, string, or tuple. It can be anything, any container like object. So in membership operator, you have two operations, int and not int. So for example, a equal to hello. This is a string. So I want to check whether H is present in this string or not. So let's print if H in A or not. Since H is present in this string, it will return true. As you can see, it returns true. If I change the H to F, will give me false because F is not present in this string. And the next one is the not in. If something is not present in the list, then it will return true. If something is present in the list, then it will return false. Since F is not present in hello, it will give us the true because F is not present. If let us see if H is present or not. Since it gives us false, H is present. This is all about the in and not in operator. Now let us see the identity operator. Identity operator is used to compare the address of two variables. For example, we have a equal to 10 and b equal to 20. Let us print the address of these variables. You can print the address of these variables using the id function. This is a Boolean function. So let's use the id of a. Also print the id of b. And let's check if both the IDs are same. A is B. So let's save this file and run now. Since both these IDs are different, it returns false. So let's change the value to 10. If you save this and run now, since both the address of these variables are true, or you can say since both these address of these variables are same, it gives us true. As you can see, both the ID or address is same. Now let us see the is not. So is not will give us true only if both the values are different, that is both the address are different. Since here both the address are same, it will give us false because both the address are same. If you change the value to something else, it will give us true because A is not B, right? Because both these values are not same, so A is not B is equal to true. That's why it returns true. So these are the operators available in Python. So in the next video we will discuss about the commands. In this video we will see how to use commands in Python. Commands is a piece of code that gets ignored by the interpreter or compiler. For example, we have a print statement here, hello, and above the print statement we will use the single line command. In Python, single line command starts with hash symbol. Anything followed by the hash symbol will get ignored by the interpreter. For example, this is the starting of the program. If you save this file and run now, as you can see, this line gets ignored by the interpreter. Commands is a great way to describe your program what it does, and it also helps the other programmer to better understand your code when they read your program. In Python, there is no specific command for multi-line command. For example, to use the multi-line command, we use the triple quotes. Inside these triple quotes, you can use the multi-line command. This is the multi-line command. If you run this now, as you can see, these 3 lines has been ignored by the interpreter. Or you can use the hash symbol for each line. This is the first line, this is the second line. You can use hash symbol for each line. As mentioned, commands is a great way to describe what your program does, what is the logic of the program, and what a specific function does. So it is better to always use commands for a complex programs. So this is for this video, and in the next video we will see how to get input from the user. In this video we will see how to get input from the user and output it to the console. Let us first discuss why we need to get input from the user. For example, we have two variables here, name equal to Python and city contains code. Let's change the code to coding world. And I am simply printing the two variables. In the print statement, I type hello, my name is name, and in the second print, hello, and I am from, let's use the city variable. So if you save this and run it now, as you can see, it displays hello, my name is Python and I am from coding world. No matter how many times you run the program, you will get the same output. If you want to use different values, then you will have to manually edit the program. So for example, instead of Python, if I want Java, I will have to manually edit the program. So if you save this and rerun it now, as you can see, displays my name is Java, but if you run it again, you will get the same output, Java. So each time if you want to change the values, you will have to manually edit the variable's value. This is time consuming. So to handle this, we have a built-in function called input function. Input function allows us to get input from the user. For example, name equal to input. Inside the input function, I will write a prompt. Enter your name. This prompt will appear before the cursor in the output. So let's save this file and run it now. As you can see, it asks for our input. For the name, I will write Java. So let's press enter. As you can see, it displays hello, my name is Java. So let's close this and rerun the program now. This time I will give C. As you can see, now the output is different each time you run it because it changes the value in runtime. This is the benefit of using the input function. Let's also get the city name from the user. So input of enter your city. So let's save this file and rerun it now. For the name I will write Python, and for the city I will write program world. As you can see, now the city name is different. This is the advantage of using the input function. In the earlier version of Python, you will use the raw input instead of simply using input. But in the later version, the raw input is get renamed to the simply input. You will use the input in the latest version. Now let us see another example to take height and width from the user. So height equal to input of enter your width, and for the height let's do the same, input of enter your height. So to calculate the area of a rectangle, we will use the formula height multiplied by width. So we will use the asterisk for multiplication in Python. So let's print the area. The area of the rectangle is, let's print the area variable. So let's save this file and run it now. For the width I will write 78, and for the height I will give 80. So if you press enter now, as you can see, you will get type error. The message is you can't multiply a non-integer value to a string. That means you cannot multiply a value to a string. By default, the input function will only allow the string value. If you want to get the integer value from the user, you will have to typecast it. Typecasting means you will have to change the data type explicitly. For this, we will use the built-in int function. Just wrap the input function with the int function. Let's also do the same for the height also. So let's wrap the int. So let's save this file and run it now. For the width I will give 78, and for the height I will give 90. If you press enter now, as you can see, you will get the area of the rectangle. By default, the input function only take string value. If you want to get integer from the user, you will have to typecast it. You can typecast to an integer or float. For example, if you want to get a float value from the user, you can change this int function to float function. Let's also do for the second one also, float. So let's save this file and run it now. For the width I will write 78.7, and for the height I will give 67.5. If you press enter now, as you can see, the output is in float number. This is how you use a input function to get a integer value or float value. So a key point to note here is that by default the input function will only take the string value. If you want an integer value or float value from the user, you will have to manually typecast it. So this is all about the input function. In the next video, we will see the if-else statement in Python. In this video, let us discuss the decision making in Python, especially the keywords if, else and elif. Let us first start with the if statement. This is how the flowchart of the if statement will look like. First, we will check the expression. If the expression is true, then it will execute the statement 1, statement 2 and statement 3 and go to the statement 4. But if it is false, it will directly go to the statement 4, reach the end of the program. This is the logic of the if statement. If a condition is true, it will execute statement blocks, and if it is false, it will skip that block. Now let us see the syntax of the if statement. This is what we have seen in the flow chart. That is, if expression is equal to true, then it will execute the following blocks, that is statement 1, statement 2 and statement 3. If it is false, then it will directly go to the statement 4 without executing the first 3 statements. Now let us see an example to understand this further. For example, a customer will get a 10% discount if his purchase is greater than 1000. If not, then there is no discount is applicable for that person. Let us see the flowchart to understand this better. First of all, we will declare the discount variable to 0. After that, we will get the input amount from the user, and if the amount is greater than 1000, we will calculate the discount inside the if statement. That is, discount equal to amount times the 10% of the original amount, that is 10 divided by 100. This is how you calculate a discount of the original amount. And if it is false, it will not calculate the discount. It will directly use the original discount value, that is 0. And after the if statement, after we calculated the discount, we will go to the output amount equal to amount minus discount. This is how the flowchart of the example will look like. Now let us implement in Python. First, let us initialize the discount variable to 0 and let us take the amount from the user and input of enter the purchase amount. Now we have set the discount on amount. Now let us check the condition. If amount is greater than 1000, we will calculate the discount. So discount equal to amount times 0.10, that is 10%. After this, we will calculate the original amount. So output amount equal to original amount minus discount. Now let us print the discounted amount is, let us print the output amount. Let's save this and run it now. So let us enter the amount 1200. As you can see, you will get a discount of 120 rupees. You will only pay the 1080. So let me explain the logic again. First, we will set the discount variable to 0 and we will get the amount from the user. If the amount is greater than 1000, we will calculate the discount, that is 10% of the original amount. If this condition fails, then we will use the original discount, that is 0. Original amount minus 0 will give us the same value. So let us try this. So let us rerun it. Let us now give amount 800. If we press enter, as you can see, the discount or amount is also 800 because this condition failed here. If this condition fails, it will use the original amount. This is all about the if statement. Now let us move on to the if-else statement. In the if-else statement, you will have an optional part called the else block. The else block will get executed if the condition is evaluated to be false. It is an optional block because we will execute it only when the condition is evaluated to false. Else, if the condition is true, we will execute the statements inside the if part. Now let us see the flow chart for the if-else statement. As you can see, first we will check for the expression. If the expression is true, then we will execute the statement 1, statement 2 and statement 3. If it is false, we will skip the statements inside the if and we will execute the statements inside the else block. So we will execute statement 4, statement 5, statement 6 if the expression is false, and finally we will go to the statement 7. This is how the flowchart of the if else will look like. If you understand the flowchart, then it is easy, because if expression is true, then we will execute the statements inside the if. If it is false, we will execute the statements inside the else block. Now let us see an example to understand this further. Now let's take a age of a person. We should display a message that he is eligible to vote only when the age of his person is greater than 18. If it is not, then we will display a message that he is not eligible to vote. This is how the flowchart will look like. So first we will get the age from the user, and then we will check for the age to be greater than 18 or less than. If it is greater than 18, then the condition satisfied, we will execute the true part, that is eligible to vote. If it is false, then we will display that not eligible to vote. Finally, we will end the program. Now let us implement in Python. First, we will take the age from the user. So age equal to int of input, enter your age. First, we will check if age greater than 18. If it is greater than 18, we will display message that eligible to vote. Else, if the age is not greater than 18, we will display that not eligible to vote. So let us save this file and run it now. For the age, now give 20. As you can see, it displays eligible to vote. So let's close the, let us run the program again. This time I will give the age as 15. As you can see, not eligible to vote. This is how the if else would work. If it is true, then execute the statement inside the if. If it is false, then execute the statement inside the else block. This is all about the if else. Now let us move on to the elif statement in Python. In the elif statement, you will have an option to check multiple expression for true, and if a statement is true, then execute the statements inside that block. Similar to else statement, the elif statement is optional, because here we will check only if the if condition is fail. If the if condition is fail, then we will check for the condition in the elif. This is how the syntax of the elif will look like. First, we will check the expression 1. If the expression 1 is false, we will skip the statements inside the if block. We will check for the expression 2. If the expression 2 is true, then we will execute the statements inside the elif expression 2 block. If it is false, then we will check for the expression 3. If it is also false, then finally we execute the else statement. So let us modify the discount example we have used earlier to explain this elif statement. So this is the updated discount. We will provide 20% discount if the person purchase about 10,000, and we will also provide 10% if his purchase amount will be greater than 5,000 and less than 10,000, and we will provide a 5% discount if a person purchase anything between 5,000, and if his purchase amount is less than 1,000, we will provide no discount. This is how the flowchart of the example will look like. First, we will take the input amount from the user. If the amount is greater than 1,000, we will provide them with the 20% discount, and finally we will display the original amount, that is amount minus the discount. If this expression is false, then we will check the elif, that is amount is greater than 5,000 or not. If the amount is greater than 5,000, then we will provide them with a 10% discount, that is discount equal to amount times 10/100. If this condition also fails, then we will check if the amount is greater than 1000 or not. If the amount is greater than 1000, we will provide them with a 5% discount. Else, we will set the discount to 0 and finally display the original amount. This is how the flowchart for the example will look like. Now let us see the Python code to explain this. First, we will take the amount from the user. So int of input, enter the amount. First, we check whether the amount is greater than 10,000. If it is greater than 10,000, also initialize the discount to 0. If it is greater than 10,000, we will set the discount equal to amount times 0.20. We will calculate the discount 20% of the original amount. If it is not, if the condition fails, then we will check another condition. We will check if the amount is greater than 5,000. If this condition becomes true, we will calculate the discount equal to amount times 0.10, that is 10% of the discount. If this condition also fails, we will check for the next condition, that is amount greater than 1000. If this condition becomes true, we will calculate the discount equal to amount times 5%, that is 0.05. Finally, if all the conditions fails, then we will execute the statement inside the else, that is set the discount to 0. Finally, we will calculate the original amount, that is output amount equal to amount minus discount. Let us print the discounted amount. Discounted amount equal to, so let's print the output amount. So let's save this file and run it now. So let's give 15,000 as an example. As you can see, you will get 3,000 as a discount. You will only pay 12,000. So let's close this and rerun it now. This time I will give 7,000. It is greater than 5,000 but less than 10,000. So let's press enter. As you can see, this time you will only receive the 10% discount, that is 700. So let's close this and rerun it now. This time I will enter 700. As you can see, you will get the discount of 0. You will pay the original amount as it is. So let me explain the program again. First, we will get the amount from the user and we initialize the discount to 0. We first check if the amount is greater than 10,000 or not. If it is, then we will calculate the 20% discount of the original amount. If this condition falls, then we will check for the another condition to be true, that is amount greater than 5,000 or not. If the amount is greater than 5,000, we will calculate the discount of 10% of that original amount. If this condition also fails, then we will check for the third condition to be true. Here we check if the amount is greater than 1000 or not. If the amount is greater than 1000, we will calculate the discount of 5%. If all the conditions above become fail, we will execute the else block, that is discount equal to 0. Finally, we calculate the original amount, that is this amount minus discount, and we will print it. This is all about the Elif statement in Python. Now let us move on to the nested if. In the nested if, sometimes you will have to check condition after condition to execute the statements. If the condition becomes true, then only you will execute the statements, else you will execute the statements in the else block. To explain this using the example, let's look at the program here. We are defining two variables here, game equal to cricket and age equal to 18. First, we are checking if game is equal to cricket. If this becomes true, then again we are checking another condition, if age is less than 18. If age is less than 18, then we will simply print a message that he belongs to the under 18 group. If it is not, If the age is not less than 18, then we will print a message that he belongs to the above 18 group. If this condition becomes false, then we will print a message that he likes some other games. This is how a nested if would work. You will use the condition after condition to check if the condition is satisfied. If not satisfied, then you will simply print the message in the else block. This is all about the decision making in Python. In the next video, we will discuss the loops in Python. In this video, let us discuss the for loop. For loop is used to iterate over a sequence. It can be either a list, tuple, or a dictionary, or it can even be a string. Iterating means we going through each element one by one, and for each element of the loop, it will execute certain number of statements. As you can see, this is the flowchart of the for loop. For example, we have a list of 5 items here. First, it will pick the first item from the list. This is the first step here, item from sequence. We are taking a first item from the list. Then it executes certain number of statements for that element. After that, it checks if there is any more items in the list. If there is, then it will follow the same procedure, execute statements. This process will continue until if there is any elements in the list. If there is no elements in the list, then the for loop will end and it will execute the statements outside the for block. This is the flowchart how it works. Now let us see the syntax to understand this better. We use the for keyword for loop, and then we are having a iterating variable. This iterating variable will contain the character of each loop. First, it will pick the first element from the list or tuple or a string, and then it continues to the end of the list. So then we use the membership operator in. Then we have a sequence. For sequence, we use the list, tuple or a string, and then we execute the statements. It can be n number of statements, statement 1, statement 2, and so on. This is how the syntax of the for loop would look like. Now let us see an example to understand this further. Suppose we have a string here, that is a equal to hello. Let us see how to use a for loop to print the individual characters from this string. For I in, then we use the sequence. For this sequence, we use the string, so a. This I variable will contain the character each loop. For example, this I variable will contain h for the first loop, and then e, and so on until the end of this string. Inside the for loop, we will just print the I. So if you save this and run it now, as you can see, first it starts from h, then e, and it all goes to the o. It picks the first item from the list, and then it continues the loop until it ends the end of the list. If there are no more elements in the list, then the for loop breaks out of the loop and execute the statement outside the for loop. Let us see how to do this for the tuple. So we have a tuple here, tuple 1 equal to, this contains 5 elements, 5, 3, 2, 1, and 9. So we have a 5 elements. For example, to use a for loop for I in tuple 1, you can use whatever name you want for this variable. You can use j if you want, or iterating variable if you want. You can use any name for this variable, and then we use the tuple 1. Inside this tuple 1, we will just print the iterating variables. If you save this and run now, as you can see, it displays the individual elements. You can also apply a condition to this iterating variable. If iterating variable divided by 2, and if you get a remainder 1, then only we print the iterating variable. Basically, this condition checks for a odd number. That is, if you divide any number by 2 and if you get a remainder 1, then that number is a odd number. This is what we have applied here. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, it only prints the odd number. It skips the 2. 2 is not printed here. So let us see how to do this same for the list. So we have a list equal to, we have 4 elements now, 2, 4, 5, 10. So let us use the same syntax for I in list 1, and then you can print I to display all the elements, or you can apply a simple condition. If I divided by 2 and if we get a remainder 0, then that number is a even number. So let's print our I. So if you save this and run now, you will get all the even numbers. Now let us discuss the range function. Range function is frequently used along with the for loop. So basically the usage of range function is it gives us a sequence of numbers from a start index to the end index. The syntax of range function would look something like this. First you will mention the start index, then we have the end index, then we have the step. You can mention step, or it is a optional, you can provide or not. So let's comment this. Basically you wrap the range function around a list or a tuple to convert a range object into a sequence of numbers. If you don't convert to a list or tuple, then it will only return as the range object. So let us see this now. I equal to range of 1, 50. So let's save this and print I. So let's run now. As you can see, it only gives us the range object. But if you wrap this around the list function, then it will give us the sequence of 50 numbers. As you can see, it starts from 1 and up to 49. You can also use the tuple if you want. As you can see, now it is wrapped under the tuple. This is the usage of this range function. Let us see how to use this range function in a for loop. So for I in range of 10, so let's print I now. So let's print now. As you can see, it displays the 10 numbers. Instead of having a list here containing the numbers from 1 to 10, we have a range function here that contains the, or it gives us a sequence of numbers from 0 to 9. This is the usage of range function. Basically, most programmers would use the range function in for loop. Now let us discuss how to use the for loop in dictionary. So we have a dictionary is equal to, and it has two key value pairs. So first one is, so we have a 1 and its value will be I, and then we have a second key and its value will be hello. So let's use a for loop now for I in dictionary. So if you run it now, you will only get the key. As you can see, 1 and 2 are the keys. If you want the values, you will have to use the values method. Values. If you print now, as you can see, it displays hi and hello. You can also use the items method to get both key and value pair. As you can see, 1 and its value, 2 and its value. You can use another variable to capture both these in a separate variable. The one will store in I and I will store in j. So let's print both now. Print of I comma j. As you can see, it displays both hi and hello in j variable. Now let us see how to use else keyword in for loop. Sometimes you want to display a message after the for loop ends. For this, we will use the else block. Inside the else block, you will display the message that you want to display after the for loop ends. For example, let's clear this for I in range 10. So let's print I. After this statement executed, and if you want to display the message here that the for loop ends. If you save this and run it now, as you can see, it displays all the numbers from 0 to 9 and a message that the for loop ends. This is how you use a else keyword along with a for loop. You can also nested a for loop. For example, we have a for loop for I in range. Inside this for loop, you can have another for loop for j in range. So let's print I comma j. For each loop, it will execute this loop 10 times because here we have range of 10. So if you save this and run it now, as you can see, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. For each 0, it executes the loop from 0 to 9. Basically, nested for loop is very helpful in the matrix. That is, you have a 2 cross 3 matrix and 3 cross 3 matrix. Then you will use the 3 loop for 3 cross 3 matrix and 2 loops for 2 cross 3 matrix. This is the overview of the for loop. In the next video, we will discuss the while loop. In this video, let us discuss the while loop. So if you want to execute a certain number of statements, as long as the given condition is true, in that case, you can use the while loop, because while loop executes a certain number of statements as long as the condition is true. If the condition becomes false, then it stops executing and it goes out of the while loop. Let us discuss the syntax to understand this further. So we use the while keyword and then we have the expression. If the expression becomes true, we will execute a certain number of statements. That is, it can be a print statement or it can be another operation. So it can be any number of statements. Statement 1, statement 2, and then again we check the expression. If the expression again becomes true, again it will follow the same statements. Statement 1, statement 2. Then we check the statement. If the statement becomes false, it stops executing and comes out of the while loop. This is the syntax of the while. Let us see the flow chart to understand this further. First, you will check the condition. If the condition becomes true, you will execute the conditional code, that is the statements. Again, after you execute the statements, again you will check the condition. The condition against true, you follow the same procedure. The loop will continue until if the condition becomes false. If the condition becomes false, then the while loop ends. It comes out of the while loop. Let us see an examples to understand this while loop concept better. Suppose we have a count variable is equal to 0. So we want to execute or print high message until the count variable becomes 6. If the count variable becomes 6, we will end the while loop. So while count less than 6, this condition true means print the high message. Don't forget to increment the count variable, otherwise it will become an infinite loop. The loop will not end. Increase the count variable by 1. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, it prints 6 times. After the count value becomes 6, it will again check the expression here, that is 6 less than 6. If the condition false, then it comes out of the while loop and stops printing. So let's print a additional message here, while loop ends, and also provide a count value so that you can see what are the numbers. As you can see, this is high 0, high 1, high 2 and high 3 up to high 5. Count 5, we will increment the value by 1. Here count value is 5. If we increment the value by 1, it will become 6. Again it will go to the condition 6 less than 6. It becomes false. It comes out of the while loop. This is the example number 1. Let us see another example. Here in this example, we want to continuously ask the user for the input as long as he presses the Q. If he press the Q, then the program should end. So let us do that. So let's take the input from the user. So input string equal to input, enter input. So let's take a input. Then as long as the input string not equal to Q, we will continuously ask the user for the input. So input of enter input. If it becomes Q, then it will stop executing and ends the program. So let's print message that the while loop ends. So let's save this and run now. So for the input, let's give something. So let's print high here, high. Again it asks for the input. This time let's give hello. As you can see, it will continuously ask for our input until we press Q. If we press Q, the while loop ends. This is the concept of while loop. It executes the statement as long as the given expression is true. If the expression becomes false, it stops the loop. Here in the previous example, so if you consider the previous example here, this is what we have in the previous example. Here you increment the count by 1. If you forget to increment the count 1, then it becomes an infinite loop. As you can see, the count is 0. It will print infinitely. So if you stop this, just press Ctrl C. So if you forget to increment the count variable, it will go into the infinite loop. This is the one kind of problem in while loop. So always make a condition so that it will end after a certain amount of statements. If you want to display a message after the while loop ends, you can display the message inside the else block. So else of inside this, just print the while loop ends. After that, you can normally do the other statements that you would do after the while loop. So if you run this now, as you can see, displays while loop ends. Here the other statements you have, other statements. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, the other statements. So let me give you a brief difference between the while loop and for loop. In the for loop, you will iterate over the sequence. The sequence can be list, tuple, or a string. You will first get the first item from the list and execute a certain number of statements for that item as long as there is an item in the list. If the list becomes empty or if there is no more elements to pick from, then the for loop will end. On the other hand, while loop will execute the statements as long as the condition is true. If the condition becomes false, the loop gets end. So this is the difference between the for loop and while loop. In the next video, we will see the jump statements in looping. In this video, let us discuss the jump statements. In jump statements, we have 3: continue, break, and pause. So let us discuss them each one detailedly. First of all, let's discuss the break. Break keyword is used to terminate a loop when a condition satisfies. For example, we have a for loop here that will execute 10 times, but we want to break this for loop when I becomes 5. So if I is equal to 5, we want to break this loop, else we can just print the I. So let's save this file and run now. As you can see, it executes only to the I equal to 4, and when the I becomes 5, it breaks the loop. This is how you use a break statement. You will terminate a break statement when a condition becomes true with the help of this break keyword. Now let us see the continue keyword. Continue keyword is just opposite to the break keyword. Instead of breaking the loop, you will just skip that loop. For example, if you use a continue now instead of break, so let's save this file and run now. As you can see, the number 5 has been skipped. Instead of breaking, the loop has been skipped. So let's change the I to something else. Number 1, number. So you will use a F string here. So number, then we have the I. So let's save this file and run now. As you can see, number 0, number 1, and up to 4, and then we skip the number 5 because we continue using the continue keyword, and it prints up to number 9. This is the usage of continue keyword. And then we have the pause. For example, if you define a function, don't worry about the function, we will cover the function in the next video. So you have a function here, but you haven't defined the contents of the function yet because you will define them after some time. For this, you can use a pause keyword here. If you don't mention the pause keyword and just define the function, then you will get a error, that is indentation error, or if you just call the function, you will get the error. As you can see, you will get a error. So it is, in that case, you can use the pause statement. As you can see, it executes, or you can use inside the empty class. Mostly we don't use the pause keyword that often. We will frequently use the break and continue keyword only. So let me summarize the concepts now. Break keyword is used to terminate a loop in a condition satisfied, and continue keyword is used to skip a loop when a condition satisfies, and pause is used to define a, or we use the pause keyword inside the empty function. So this is all the jump statements available in Python. In the next video, we will cover the functions. In this video, let us discuss the functions. Functions contains the number of statements that gets executed when you call them. Functions make the program more reusable and easy to read. Reusable means you write the function one time and you can use the function multiple times throughout the program. This makes the program easy to read and also reduce the number of same lines of statement you write multiple times. So if you write the same number of lines multiple times, this makes the program more difficult to read. So if you put them inside the function and you can call them multiple times whenever you want. Let us now discuss the different types of functions available in Python. There are two types, that is the built-in function and the user-defined functions. Built-in functions like you have the print statement and len function. These are all the built-in functions that is available in Python. Let us now see the user-defined function. User-defined functions means you create a function by yourself. The syntax for user-defined functions will look something like this. You use def keyword for defining a function and then you will use the function name. You can use whatever you want. In this case, I will write greeting as a function name. Then you followed by the parentheses. After the parentheses, you make a colon and then you can have any number of statements. Statement 1, statement 2, and optionally you can return a value or not. If you simply write a function and if you didn't call the function will not get executed. If you define a function, you will have to call the function to execute it. So to call the function, you just use the function name followed by the parentheses. This is a calling a function. Let us now see an example to understand this further. So I am going to use the keyword def, and for the function name I will use the greeting and followed by the parentheses and colon. And inside the function I just greet a user. So print of hello user1. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, nothing happens. You will have to call the function to get executed. So greeting. So if you save this and run now, as you can see, executed hello user1. If you again call the function, like here we call the function again, as you can see, you will get two times hello user1 and hello user1. This is what I mean by the reusability in the beginning of the video. Let us now see the function arguments. Here we are just using a static data, that is hello user1. We do not get any input from the user. You can also pass some input to the function via the arguments. Arguments are like you pass some values to the function. So if you want to greet user2, then you can pass this value inside these parentheses. Now we have passed the value to the function. We will have to collect it. For this we will use a variable here. This is called the parameter. When you pass a value, this is called the argument, and when you receive a value, this is the parameter. So instead of greeting user1, I will now use the variable, that is name. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, it displays hello user2. You can pass any number of value like user3. As you can see, it displays hello user2 and hello user3. It will print the name for each user for each call of the function. This is how you pass some input value to the function in the form of arguments and parameters. Now let us see a function with return value. To explain this function with return value, we will take a simple example of adding a two number. So let's define a function that takes two values, a comma b. This value will be passed by the user when calling a function. So we simply just return a plus b. Now we have defined the function. Let's call the function with some values. So sum of 10, 20. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, this time also nothing prints because we just call the function and the function will return some value. It didn't print anything. So it just returned a plus b. You can either print the result directly here. As you can see, it displays 30 now, or you can store the returned value from the function in a variable and then you can print the variable. As you can see, it also displays the same value here. So when you get a return value, you can directly print the value, or you can store it in a variable and then you can print the variable. Let us see the different types of function arguments. So this is actually a positional arguments, because the values get assigned to the parameters in the way they are receiving. Here A will get assigned 10 and B will get assigned 20. If you interchange the position 20, 10, now A will get assigned 20 and B will get assigned 10. This is the positional arguments. In the positional arguments, the parameters will get assigned in the order of receiving. Let us now see the keyword arguments. Keyword arguments means you don't follow any order. For example, if you want the B value to always have 20, you can just use the keyword, that is B equal to 20 and A equal to 10. We have interchanged the position here, but since we are using the keyword argument, the B will contain 20 and A will contain 10. So let's print A and B to verify it now. So let's print A and B. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, A contains 10 and B contains 20 and the result is 30. This is the difference between the position and keyword argument. In the position argument, the values are assigned in the order they are receiving. For example, 10, 20. If we interchange the order, the value get assigned in the same order. But in the keyword argument, you will use the variable name equal to some value. Since you are using keyword arguments, you don't have to follow any positions or any order. And one more thing is that if you forget to pass the same number of parameters you have, so if you only pass 10, you will get error now, that is miss one positional argument B. So you will have to pass the same number of arguments for the parameters you define here. Here we have two parameters and you will have to pass two values for the parameters. If you miss any values, then you will get error. So let me repeat again. So you will have to match the number of parameters is equal to number of arguments. If you have two parameters, then you will need to have two arguments. So 10, 20. If you run it now, as you can see, it displays 30 now. So let us now see the default parameter. You can you can assign a value to B to 10. So if you don't pass any value for B, it will directly use the default value. So since I am passing a value for A only, I don't pass any value for B. So if you save this and run now, as you can see, it used the default value. Default value is 10. And in the print statement of B, you can see it prints 10. So you will get error if you don't pass any arguments. But in the default arguments, since you have assigned a default value for the argument in the parameter itself, even if you don't pass any value, it will use the default value. This is the default argument. So this is all about the functions. In this video, let us discuss about the list. List is a container object that contains elements as separated by commas and enclosed within the square bracket. For example, to create a list in Python, list 1 equal to, you would use the square bracket. Inside this square bracket, you will have elements that are separated by commas. For example, 1, hello. One of the major difference between the list and arrays in other programming languages is that in list, you can have multiple data type elements. For example, 1 is a number data type and hello is a string data type. Here we have two different data types that we can have in a single list. But in arrays, you can't do that. You can only have same data type elements in array. This is the major difference between the list and arrays available in other programming language. Let us now see how to access list items. To access the individual elements in a list, we use the index number. Index number is a unique number that each element will possess. For example, 1 has an index number of 0. The index number for any container object will always start from 0, and hello has index number 1, and so on. For example, let's print our list, and also let us check the data type of this list. As you can see, it belongs to the class of list. Using this type attribute, we can ensure that the data type of a variable. So let me clear this. Now let us see how to access the individual elements of this array, or list. To access the individual elements, we will use the square bracket. For example, print of list 1. Inside this square bracket, we will pass the index number for the element that we want to access. For example, if you want to access hello, then we will pass this index number. Hello contains the index number 1. So if you pass 1 here inside the square bracket along with the variable name, so let's save this and run now. As you can see, it displays hello. This is the positive index because it starts from the 0 and 1 and so on. You can also access the same element using the negative index. Negative index starts from the right to left. Instead of starting from 1 hello, you will start from the right. In right we have hello and then 1. So hello has a negative index of -1 and this 1 has index of -2. To access the same element here using the negative index, you will use this negative index, that is -1. So if you save this file and run now, as you can see, it displays the same element hello. This is how you access individual elements of a list using the positive index as well as the negative index. Let us now see how to change the elements of a list. As you can see, we have two elements here, 1 and hello. What if I want to change this element's value? For example, if I want to change this hello to hi, to do that we again use the index number. So let's use the variable name list1. Inside this square bracket you use the index number. Hello has an index number of 1, and then we will use the assignment operator. Use the equal and then give a new value for the hello. For example, if I want to replace the hello by hi, then I will use the assignment operator and assign a value of hi to this one index number. Now let's print our list1. Let's save this and run now. As you can see, the element has been updated, 1 comma hi. Previously we have 1 comma hello and then we use the assignment operator to update the list 1 comma hi. This is how you change the elements in your list. Let us now move on to how to add a new element to the list. For now we have only 2 items, right? What if you want to add a third element to this list? For this we have 2 methods, the append method and the insert method. So let us discuss one by one. Append method will add a new element at the end of the list. For example, list1 dot append. If you pass a new element here, hi, and if you print the list again, save this and run now. As you can see, the hi has been added at the end of the list. This is what this append method does. So if you want to insert a element at a specific position, you can use the insert method. For example, instead of using the append method, you will use the insert method. For the first parameter, you will pass the position number. What position do you want to add this element? For example, if I want to add this number at the start of the list, so index number of 0 is the starting element. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, the hi has been placed at the start of the list, that is the index of 0. This is how you add a new element to the list using the 2 methods, the append method and the insert method. Append method will add a new element to the end of the list. The insert method will add a new element at a specified position. In this case, we specify a index number of 0 and add a new value at that position. Let us now move on to how to remove an element from the list. Now we have seen how to add an element. Let us see how to remove the elements. For this, we have 3 functions. Let us discuss them one by one. For example, let's add a new element here, 1 comma hello comma hi. The first method is the pop method. The pop method will remove the element from the end of the list. For example, list1 dot pop. If you save this file and run now, let's also print the list. As you can see, the last element has been popped. The pop method will remove the last element. If you want to remove any specific item, for example, if you want to remove hello, pass a index number to this pop method. The hello has an index number of 1. If you pass 1 here, the pop method will be remove that element. As you can see, the hello has been removed. This is the one method. The next method is the remove method. Instead of passing the index number, you can directly remove a element by using its name. If you want to remove the hello, you can directly pass the hello. So let's save this file and run now. As you can see, the hello has been removed. If you want to remove hi here, just pause I. As you can see, the I has been removed. This is the difference between the pop and remove. Let us now see the third type, that is the del. Del is a keyword that you can use to delete any specific element using its index number. You will use the del keyword and then the variable name, and then the inside the square bracket you will pass the index number of the element. For example, if I want to delete hello, then I will pass index number 1. Let's save this and run out. As you can see, the hello has been deleted. This is how you delete using the three methods: the pop method, remove method, and delete method. Now let us see how to loop through the list. Looping means going through each element one by one. For this we can use a for loop. For you will use the for keyword for loop. For I in, you will use the variable name list1, and inside this you will print the I variable. As you can see, using the for loop we can display the individual elements from the list. You can also do the same using the while loop. For list you can use the for loop, but if you want to know about how while loop works, then you can follow here. First you will initialize the count variable, count equal to 0, and then you will calculate the length of the list, length equal to len of the len function will return the length of the list, that is the number of elements in the list. Then you will use the while loop. While count less than length, you will print the list of, inside this parenthesis just pass the count variable, and then you will increase the count. Let's save this file and run now. As you can see, it displays the same elements one by one. As you can see, the while loop takes 5 lines, but the for loop will only take 2 lines. So this is easier for you to use the for loop when it comes to the list, tuple, or set dictionary. Let us now move on to how to sort a list. For example, let me clear this. List equal to 3, 4, 74, 343, now we have a numbers here. How do we sort this list in ascending order or descending order? For this we will use the sort method. So let's print our list 2 here. So let's save this file and run now. As you can see, the list has been sorted in ascending order. If you want to sort this list in descending order, you will use the reverse equal to true. As you can see, the list now has been sorted in descending order. This is how you sort a list in ascending or descending order. Let us now see how to copy a list to another list. Sometimes when you want to copy the elements of one list to another list, for this we have 2 methods here. First you will use the assignment operator, and then you will use the copy method. Let us discuss them one by one. For example, we have a list here, list 1 equal to 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. The first method will be using a directly assignment operator, list 2 equal to list 1. But one of the major problems in assignment operator is that, so let's print here before. So if you change any element in the list 1, it will also get affected in the list 2. This is what I am trying to prove here. Before list 1 and before list 2, let's change here. Let's add a new element to the list 1. So list 1 dot append. So I will add a new element of hello. So let's save this file and run now. As you can see, before we have successfully copied the list using the assignment operator, but after we added a new element to the list 1, the list 2 also gets added a new element of hello. This is not what we want, right? But because we only added a new element to the list 1, but the list 2 will automatically get the new element from the list 1. But to resolve this conflict, we will use the copy method. That is, list 2 equal to list 1 dot copy. If you use the copy method now, so let's save this file and run now. As you can see, the list 1 only contains the hello. The list 2 is not modified. This is the difference between the assignment operator and using the copy method. Now let us see how to join 2 or more lists into a single list. Many times you want to join 2 or 3 lists into a single list. For this we will have 2 methods. First one is the addition operator, and then we have the extend method. Let us discuss them one by one. So we have a list 1 here, list 1 equal to 1, 2, 34, 5, and then we have the list 2 that will be 3, 4, 45. So we have two lists here. What if I want to combine these two lists? For this, you can use the third list equal to list 1 plus list 2. Let's print the list 3. As you can see, the list 2 gets append to the list 1. The list 1 elements are added at the end of the list 1. This is one type of joining two lists using the addition operator, or you can use the extend method, that is list 1 dot extend list 2. Let's print list 1. As you can see here also it displays the same result. If you want to extend list 2, you can do that as well. List 2 dot extend list 1. So let's print list 2 now. As you can see, now the list 1 elements has been extended to the list 2. This is how you join two or more lists using the two type of joining, that is the addition operator, and then we have the extend method. Additionally, there are more list methods available for you to change any element or modify the list elements. I will attach the link of the article in the description. You can check all the methods. In this video, we will cover the tuples in Python. Tuples is a sequence data type that contains the elements separated by commas and enclosed within the parentheses. For example, to create a tuple in Python, tuple 1 equals to, this is a variable name. You would use the parentheses. Inside the parentheses, you will have elements 1, hello, and separated by comma. In tuples, you can have multiple data type elements inside a single tuple. For example, here 1 is a number data type and hello is a string data type. Whereas you consider the other programming languages have arrays. In arrays, you can't have multiple data type elements in a single array. But in Python sequence data types like list, tuple and dictionary, you can have multiple data types inside a single tuple or list or dictionary. This is how you create a tuple in Python. Let's print our tuple and also the data type of this tuple. So print tuple 1 and also print the data type of this variable. To get to know the data type of the variable, you will use the type method. Inside this type method, just pass the variable name. So let's save this file and run now. As you can see, it prints the tuple that we have defined and also the data type of this tuple. It belongs to the class of tuple. So this is how you create a tuple. Now let us see how to access the individual elements from this tuple. We have defined two elements here. So how do we access this individual element hello? For this, we will use something called the index number. Index number is a unique number each element possesses, where the index number for the first element will always start from 0 and hello has an index element 1. To access the individual element, use the variable name and square bracket. Inside the square bracket, you will pass the index number for the element that you want to access. In this case, you will try to access the hello. Hello has an index number of 1, so pass 1. Let's print to the console here. So let's save this file and run now. As you can see, it displays hello. If you want to display 1 here, pass the index number of 1. 1 has an index number of 0, so let's pass 0 here and print now. As you can see, it returns 1. This is how you access the elements from the tuple using the positive indexing. We can also access the same elements using the negative index. Negative index start from right to left. Hello has a negative index of -1 and this one has a negative index of -2. To access the same elements using the negative index, just pass its negative index values. That is, hello has a negative index of -1. Pass -1 here. If you run now, as you can see, it displays hello. This is how you access the elements using the positive index as well as the negative index. Now let's add more elements here. Hello, hi and hey. How do you access the sequence of elements from this tuple? For example, if you want to access the elements from hello to hey. For this, we will use the following syntax. We will use the tuple 1. Inside this square bracket, you will pass the start index and end index minus 1. If you pass index number 4 here as a end index, then it will include all the elements up to the start to the end minus 1. If you provide index value 4, then it will include all the elements up to 4 but not 4. 4 is not included. Then we will have the step index. So let's comment this out and use this as a reference. For example, tuple 1 and provide the start index, and let's skip the end index. If you didn't provide the end index, it will include all the elements from the start to the end. So let's save this and run out. As you can see, it starts from the first index, that is 1, and it goes all the way up to the end. If you mention end index, for example hi, if you want to include both hello and hi, if you provide the hi index as a end index, as you can see, hi has an index of 2, so 1 is to 2. Now if you save this and run out, as you can see, it only prints hello. Where is the hi goes? For this is where n minus 1 comes into picture. If you want to include that element, you will have to use the index plus 1, that is 3. Now if you save this file and run now, as you can see, now it includes hi, hello, comma hi. Always remember that if you mention the end index, it will not include that element. So this is the how you get the sequence of elements from the tuple. Now let us see how to update the tuples. Now we have defined the elements, right? What if I want to change this hello to something else? So let's try to do it here. Tuple 1 pass the index number of hello. Hello has an index number of 1, and use the assignment operator to assign a new value. For example, if I try to assign a let's assign 8. Instead of hello, I will try to update the value to 8. So let's save this file and run out. As you can see, you will get the error that the tuple object does not support item assignment. That means once you define a tuple, you cannot update the values. Tuple is an immutable object that once you created a tuple, you will not modify the tuple. For this, we will have to convert the tuple back to the list, made any changes to the list, and then convert the list back to the tuple. For example, let's convert the tuple to list here. List 1 equal to, use the list function. This is a default function, you can use it without importing anything, and inside this list function pass the variable name. Now let's print our list 1 here. As you can see, the tuple has been converted to one list. It is enclosed within the square brackets. Now you can make any changes to the list. For example, list 1 equal to 8. Now let's print our list 1. As you can see, the hello has been replaced by 8. You can convert this list back to the tuple. Tuple 1 equal to tuple of list 1. Let's save this file and run out. Let's also print our tuple 1. As you can see, the tuple has been updated. So you have to use the two process. That is, the first process is to convert the tuple back to the list, and then you will have to convert the modified list back to the tuple. By default, you can't update the values in tuple. Once you created a tuple, it will always be there. You cannot modify it. Now let us see the unpacking in tuples. Unpacking means, for example, we have 4 elements here. You can assign the individual elements from these tuples to a variable. For example, tuple 1 comma, so let's change the variable name, a comma b comma c comma d. Now a will contain 1, and b will contain hello, and c will contain hi, and d will contain hey. This is what we mean by the unpacking a tuple. We are unpacking the individual elements from the tuple and assigning the value to the individual variables. So let's print a and also print b and print c. Let's print d. So let's save this file and run out. As you can see, a contains 1, b contains hello, c contains hey, hi, and d contains hey. If you have less variable than the elements, you will get an error that let's comment this out. As you can see, it says value error, too many values to unpack. We have 4 elements, but we only have 2 variables to catch it. If you have 4 elements, you will have to provide the 4 variables to catch it. This is what we call the unpacking tuple items. Now let us see how to iterate over the tuples. Let's change the variable back to tuple 1. For this, we will use the for loop for I in tuple 1. You can print the I variable here. So let's save this one, run now. So we have a comma, extra comma here. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, it displays the individual elements. This is how you use a for loop to display the individual elements. You can also use the while loop. To use the while loop, you will have to maintain the count variable as well as the length variable. Use the length built-in function to calculate the length of the tuple. While count less than length, print tuple 1 of count, and also increase our count by 1. So let's save this file and run out. As you can see, it displays the same elements. Basically, you can use the for loop instead of using the while loop, because as you can see, while loop takes 5 lines whereas the for loop takes only the 2 lines. This is how you loop through the tuple. Now let us see how to join two tuples. For example, we have another tuple here, tuple 2 equal to, this contains 2, 4. To join these two tuples into a single tuple, we have two methods, that is the addition operator and we have the extend method. So let us see them one by one. Let's create a new tuple here, tuple 3 equal to tuple 1 plus tuple 2. If we print our tuple 3 here, as you can see, the tuple 2 has been added to the tuple 1. 2, 4 is placed at the end of the tuple 1. This is how you use the addition operator by adding the two tuples and converting them into a single tuple. You can also, instead of using a ternary variable, you can also use the compound assignment operator, that is plus equal to. So let's change the tuple 3 to tuple 1. Now the tuple 1 will contain the elements of the tuple 2. As you can see, this is the elements of the tuple 1. Since we use the assignment compound operator here, tuple 1 also contains the 2, 4 which is in tuple 2. Next method we have is the extend method. For this we will have to convert the tuple back to the list, and then we have to extend using the extend method, and then we will have to convert the list back to the tuple. This is a time consuming process. Instead of using this, you can directly use the addition operator, but I will show this how to do this. So list 1 equal to, we will have to use the list method to convert the tuple 1. I'll also convert the tuple 2 to list 2. So now we have converted the two tuples into one list object. Now we have the option of using the methods the list provides, that is list1 dot extend list 2. If you save this file and run now, as you can see, 2, 4 is placed at the end of the list 1. You can convert this list back to the tuple if you want. Tuple 1 equal to tuple of. So let's print our tuple 1 here. As you can see, it displays the same result when we use the addition operator. Instead of doing this, you can directly use the addition operator where you use the single line, but here you will use the 4 lines. This is a time consuming process, so you can use the addition operator. Now let us see the methods available in tuples. For this, let's clear all our tuple and create a new tuple here, 1, 1. So we have a tuple of 10 elements here. So let us see the tuple methods now. The first method is the count method. Tuple 1 dot count. The count method is used to count how many elements are repeated in the tuple. For example, if you want to see how many ones are there in the tuple 1, you can use the count of 1. So let's print it to the console. As you can see, there are 2 ones in the tuple, that is here there is a 1 and here also there is a 1. That's why it returns the value 2. If you want to know the how many 7s are there, as you can see, there is only 1 7 in this tuple, that's why it returns the value 1. This is all about the count method. Let us see the next method. The next method is the index method. Index method will return the index number of the element that you pass into the index method. For example, tuple 1 dot index. Inside this, if I want to know the index number of 7, you can pass this element here. So let's print it to the console. As you can see, the index number of elements 7 is 6. Here we have the 1, there are 2 times up here. Let us see what it gives us. So if you want to know the index number of the 1. So let's save this file and run out. As you can see, it only displays the first appear 1. 1 is appeared here. This one does not count because it will display the result only when it moves from the left to right. When it goes from the left to right, if it finds a match, then it will return its index number. Since 1 appears here, it will display its index number as 0. So this is all about the list methods available in Tuple. First one is the count method and the next is the index method. In this video, we will cover the dictionaries in Python. Dictionary contains the key value pairs separated by commas and enclosed within the curly braces. For example, to create a dictionary in Python, we would use the syntax that is follows: dictionary1 equal to, this is a variable name, and then you will use the curly braces. Inside this curly braces, you will have the key value, that is key value pairs, that is separated by the commas. This is the syntax of this dictionary. Let's create a one key value pair right now. 1:hello. 1 is a key and hello is a value. You can separate multiple key and value pairs by comma, and let's create another key value pair here. So 2:hi. Let's create another one. 3 and its value will be hey. This is how you create a dictionary in Python. You can also check the data type of this variable using the type function. Type function will simply return the data type of the variable that are get passed into it as an argument. So let's save this and run now. You can check here, it belongs to the class of dictionary. So let me remove this. Now we have created the dictionary. How can we access the individual elements from this dictionary? For this we have the two methods, and the first method is using the square bracket operator. Let us see them now. For this you would use the variable name and then you would use the square bracket. Inside the square bracket you would use the key to access the specific value. If you use the key 1 here, so let's print here, it will display the value of this key 1. So let's save this and run out. As you can see, it displays hello. If you use the key 2, then it will display hi. If you use the key 3, then it will display hey. This is how you use the square bracket operator. But the problem here using the square bracket operator is that if you try to access the key that doesn't exist in the dictionary, for example here 4 doesn't have in the dictionary, so if you try to access the key that doesn't exist, you will get a key error and it will break the Python code. For this we have the another method, that is the get method. Instead of using the square bracket operator in that case, you can use the get method. Now if you try to access the key value 4, still it doesn't exist in the dictionary, but if you run it now, as you can see, it displays none. Instead of breaking the Python code and display the error message that key does not exist, you can use the get method. It simply returns the none value. This is how you access the key elements from the dictionary using the square bracket operator and get method. Now let us see how to create a dictionary from list of tuples. So let me clear this, or let's comment this, and below this we have another dictionary. So dictionary equal to, this time we will use the dict method. This is a built-in function. Inside this we will have the another tuple, and then we have the list. Inside this list, key and value pair inside this tuple. To create another key and value pair, you will use the another tuple. So 2, hi, and then for the third key value pair you use the another tuple here. So hi. Now if you print the dictionary here, so let's save this and run now. As you can see, it displays the same result that we have created in this structure. You can use this structure or you can use this structure that is list of tuple. Why this is list of tuple is that the tuples are enclosed within the list and then the list is enclosed within the tuple. You can also create a dictionary from the keyword argument. So let's clear this. So we have the dict function here. Inside this dict function you can use the keyword argument, that is a equal to 100 and b equal to 200. Now if you save this and run now, as you can see, a is a key and 100 is a value, b is a key and 200 is a value. You can also create a dictionary using the keyword argument. So let me clear this. So let's uncommon this. Now let us see how to add new elements to the dictionary. For now we have only three key value pairs, right? Let us see how to add the fourth key and value pair. For this again we can use the same square bracket operator, that is dictionary. Inside the square bracket operator you would use the key and its value will be assigned using the assignment operator. That is this time let's assign here some value 500. You can also create another key value, that is dictionary of key 5 equal to 600. So let's print our dictionary here. As you can see, these two key has been added to the dictionary. You can also use the update method. So let me clear this. Dictionary dot update. Inside this update method you can pass a new dictionary here, that is 4:5 separated by comma 5:600. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, 4:500 and 5 and its value 600 are added to the dictionary. You can use the two methods, that is using the square bracket operator and the update method. So now let me clear this again. So now we have seen how to create a dictionary and how to add new elements to the dictionary. Let us see how to remove the elements that we have added to the dictionary. For this we have four methods. Let us discuss them one by one. You can use the pop method. Using the pop method you can pass the key that you want to delete. For example, if you want to delete this 3 and its value here, you can pass this key name, that is 3, and the pop method will return the deleted value. You can store it in a variable or you can directly print it. So let's print now. So let's save this and run out. As you can see, 3 key and its value here has been deleted. Let's print our dictionary to verify it. As you can see, this key has been removed from the dictionary. Only 1 and its value, 2 and its value are present. 3 and its value are removed. This is how you use the pop method. You can delete a specific key from the dictionary using the pop method. And the next method we have is the pop item. Difference between the pop method and the pop item is that pop item doesn't take any arguments. It simply returns the last argument, that is the last key value from the dictionary. For example, let's change the order here. Instead of, so let me paste it here. So let's remove the comma here. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, it removes the last key value pair, that is 2, high. If you print the dictionary now, as you can see, we have the 1 and its value, 3 and its value, 2 and its value are deleted. This is the pop method. It will remove the last key and value pair. Then we have the clear. So let me remove the print method here. The clear method will remove all the elements from the dictionary. As you can see, we have got the empty dictionary since we use the clear method. Then we have the del operator. So to use the del operator, we will use the del keyword, and then we use the dictionary name. We will use the square bracket again. If you use the key name and is, so let's print our dictionary. As you can see, the key value associated with 3 has been deleted. This is how you use the del operator. If you use the key name 2, so let's save this and run out. As you can see, now the 2 key and its value are deleted. This is how you delete an element from the dictionary using the 4 methods, that is the del operator, pop method, pop item method, and the clear method. Now let us see the view objects in dictionary. There are 3 methods for viewing the key and values pair of the dictionary, that is the items method, keys method, and then we have the values method. Let us see them one by one. So inside the print function, let's use the items method now. So let's save this and run out. As you can see, it displays all the key and value pairs in the form of list of tuples. This is what we have created earlier in the tutorial, that we can create a dictionary from list of tuples. Now the items method will display all the elements in the form of list of tuples. The item methods will display all the key and value pairs. You can use the keys method to display the keys only, or you can use the values method to display the values only. Now let us see how to loop through the dictionary in Python. For this we will use the for loop or I in dictionary. If you print the I now, it will only display the keys. As you can see, 1, 3 and 2. If you want to display both the keys and value, you will have to use the items method. So let's save this and run out. As you can see, now it displays all the keys and values that we have created in the dictionary. You can use the another variable to store the key and value pairs separately, and then you can display them individually. As you can see, now we have stored the key and value pair inside the I and j variable, and then we have the, so let's remove this, let's remove the j here also. You can use the values method to display the values only. As you can see, hello, hey and hi. You can use the keys method to display the keys only. As you can see, 1, 3, 2. This is how you loop through the dictionary using the for loop. Now let us see how to copy a dictionary to another dictionary. So let's create a empty dictionary here. Dictionary 2 equal to, this will be empty dictionary. You can use the assignment operator, that is dictionary equal to dictionary 2. Just print both the dictionary 1 and dictionary 2. Actually this is dictionary 2 equal to dictionary. So let's save this and run out again. As you can see, now the dictionary 2 contains all the key and value pairs from the dictionary. But the problem here is that if you try to change any values in the original dictionary, it will also reflect in the second dictionary that we have copied. For example, here after we assign the dictionary values to the new dictionary 2, if you try to change any key and value pair, for example, if you modify the second key to something else, hi, or let's assign some value, as you can see, it also reflects in the new dictionary that we have created. We only modify the first dictionary, that is this dictionary here, but since we use the assignment operator, it also gets modified in the new dictionary that we have created, that is the dictionary 2. This is not we wanted in the some case. For this, we can use the copy method. Instead of using the assignment operator, we can call the copy method. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, the dictionary 2 is now unchanged. Only the original dictionary has been modified. You can see here, original dictionary contains key 2 and its value 500. But the second dictionary, that is the dic 2, contains the same value, 2 and its value high. This is how you copy using the copy method as well as the assignment operator. You can also have a dictionary inside the another dictionary. For example, 3 and its value can be another dictionary. So 1 colon hi, 2 colon hello. So let's print our dictionary now. As you can see, for the value of the key 3, you have a dictionary. To access the dictionary here, so if you access the key 3, you will get this dictionary, that is we have a 2 key value pairs here. To access the individual keys from this dictionary, we will use the another square bracket. Inside this, let's pause 1 here. As you can see, now it displays highs. Instead of dictionary, you can also have list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you can have a tuple. Let's change the list to tuple. So let's print a dictionary now. As you can see, for the key 3, we have the tuple. Similarly, to access the individual elements from the tuple, let's use the key for the tuple, and then let's also use another square bracket. For this, let's access the first element, that is it will return 2 here. So let's save this and run out. As you can see, it displays 2. This is all the topics that are available in the dictionary. In the next video, we will see the sets. In this video, we will discuss the sets in Python. Sets is very similar to sequence data types like list, tuple or dictionary, but the difference is that set do not allow the duplicate elements. For example, to create a set in Python, you would use the set1 equal to, this is a variable name, you will use the curly braces. Inside this curly braces you will have the elements separated by comma. For example, you have C, C++, and again you have C, and then we have some Python. As you can see, we have two C's here, C and C. Let's print our set to see the result. As you can see, since we have double C in the original set, if you print the set, the double C has been reduced to the single C. This is what I mean by the set do not allow the duplicate elements. Let us now see how to create a set from list or tuple. So we have a list here, list1 equal to, you can use the same as C, C++, Python. For this you can use the built-in set function, set1 equal to set of list1. Let us print the set1 now. As you can see, it converts the list into one set data type. It also removes any duplicates here also. So let's say see if we can remove this double C. As you can see, since we have two C's in list, it removes the double C and reduces it to single C. You can also create the set from the tuple also. So let's remove the square bracket to tuple parenthesis. As you can see, here also it converts the tuple to list. Let's clear this. Now we have defined the set. How can we access the individual elements from the set? Unlike the list and tuple data type, set do not have the index number. You cannot access the element using the square bracket operator. For example, if you use the square bracket operator and use the index number, you will get the error. As you can see, it says set object is not subscriptable. That means it doesn't have any index number for each element. For this, we will have to use the for loop to access the individual elements. For I in set1, you can then print the individual element using the print statement. Let's save this file and run now. As you can see, it displays the individual elements separately, C++, Java, C, Java, Python. This is how you access the individual elements using the for loop. You cannot use the index number because set doesn't have the index number by default. Now let us see how to add new element to this set. Since now we have only have 5 elements to the set, let us now see how to add new elements to this set1. For this we have 3 methods here. The first one is the add method, set1.add. You can add a new method to this set using the add method. Let's see if we can try to add a Golang. Golang is a programming language. Let's print our set1. As you can see, now the Golang has been added. And one more thing about set is that each time you print, the order of the set changes by default. As you can see here, we have C in the first place. If you try to run it in the again, as you can see, the order has been changed. This is the reason why set doesn't have the index number. Each time you run it, the order of the set's elements are changed. So this is one method of adding the new element using the add method. The next method is the update method. The difference between add and update method is that the update method takes a sequence data type, that is, it can be either list or a tuple. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, now it has the Golang. You will have to use the list data type or a set data type. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, the Golang has been added successfully. So the update method only takes list data type or a tuple data type. If we try to use the tuple here, as you can see, now the individual characters are updated. Instead of adding the whole string, the set update method just adds the individual characters from this Golang. As you can see, we have G and then O. Now you get the idea, right? So you have to use the square brackets or curly braces. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, now it has the full string. So this is the difference between the add method and update method. The add method will simply add that element. The update method will take any list data type or another set as an argument. And then we have the union operator. You can use the union method as well and store the result in another variable. Set2 equal to set1.union. You will add this Golang to the new set. As you can see, the new set contains the Golang. Now we have seen how to add elements using the add method, update method and union method. Let us see how to remove the elements from the set. For this, we have 4 methods to do this job. The first one is the remove method. set1 dot remove. The remove method will remove the element from the list. So let's print our set1 now. As you can see, it removes the C++ from the set. But the problem here is that when you try to remove an element that doesn't exist in the set, for example, since we don't have PHP in the set, if you try to delete it, you will get the key error, that is PHP is not present in the set. To resolve this, you can use the discard method. Discard method does the same job as remove method, but it does not return any error if the element does not contain in the set. As you can see, it doesn't return any error, it simply returns the set. You can use the discard method in the case of whether you don't know whether the element is present in the set or not. If you show the element is present in the set, then you can use the remove method. If not show, then you can use the discard method. The next one is the pop method. Pop method will randomly remove an element from the set. As you can see, it removes the Java. So let's save this and run out. When you rerun it now, as you can see, now it removes the Python. The pop method will randomly remove the element from the set. The next we have is the clear method. Clear method will clear all the elements from the set. Now we have the empty set. It clears all the elements from the set. Now we have seen how to create a set using the set method, how to add a new element to the set, and how to remove an existing element from the set. Let us now move on to how to join two sets. For example, we have a set 2 here, set 2 equal to this contain PHP, MySQL. To join these two sets, you can use the pipe operator. As you can see, now the two sets has been joined to produce a single list. Instead of using the pipe operator, you can use the union method. Set1 dot union set2. This will also produce the same result. Or you can use the update method. As you can see, this will also produce the same result. These are the ways that you can join two sets using the union operator, or you can use the update method. Let us now see how to create a copy of a set. For now we have a, so let's comment this out. For now we have a set1. To copy this set, you can use the set2 equal to set1 dot copy. Let's print set2 now. As you can see, set2 contains all the elements from the set1. If you try to change any modification in the set1, so set1 dot add hi. So let's cut here and paste it here. So we copy the set before adding any element. So let's save this and run out. As you can see, the set2 doesn't get affected when you try to add a new element to the original set. Instead of using a copy method and simply using the assignment operator here, set2 equal to set1. Now if you try save this and run out, as you can see, the set2 also contains the hi. This is the difference between using the assignment operator and using the copy method. The copy method will not affect the duplicate set. It will only modify the element in the original set. The assignment operator will also affect the duplicate set. This is the difference between the assignment operator and copy method. So this is all about the sets in Python. In the next video we will cover the file handling in Python. In this video we will discuss the file handling in Python. Python has many functions for dealing with files, that is, you can open a file, read the contents from the file, and write some content back to the file, and finally you perform some operations like renaming and deleting the files. The key functions in file is the open function. The open function, as the name suggests, will open a file in Python. The syntax for open function will look something like this. File, this is a variable name. You will use the open function. This is a built-in function. You don't have to import any modules. This will take two parameters. The first one is the file name dot text, and the second one is the file mode. Which mode do you want to open this file? We have 5 file modes. The first one is the read mode. This will open the file in read mode only, that is, you can read the contents from the file. And then we have the write mode. If you use the write mode, you can write some content at the file. And then we have the append mode. The difference between the write mode and the append mode is that whatever you write using the write method we will discuss in this video, it will get added at the end of the file. This is the difference between the write mode and open mode. The write method will overwrite all the contents existing in the file. The open mode will add a content at the end of the file. And then we have the or plus. This is we are opening the file in read and write mode, opening the file in both read and write mode. And then we have the W plus. So these are the 5 file modes that are available for the open function. Now let us see how to open a file. So we have a file here, that is a python.txt, and we also have the Python file at the same location. So we will type the file name as python. Since both the Python file and text file are in the same location, I will use the relative location, that is the file name only, and for the file mode I will use the write mode. So let me open the file to show you what inside the function. We have the hey hello inside this file. So let's add some content here, that is hello, how are you. So let's save this file. So we have these 4 lines of contents inside this file. So let's close this file here. Let us see how to read that contents inside this Python. Now we have opened the file, right? To read the contents from the file, we will use the read method. So text equal to file dot read method. The read method will fetch all the contents from the file and store it inside this text variable here. Let's print our text here, and finally we will close the file. File dot close. Whenever you open a file, you should close the file. If you forget to close the file, you may corrupt your file. So always make sure to close the file. We will discuss at the end of the video how to solve this conflict. Instead of calling the close function each time, we will use the with open. We will discuss that in the later part of the video. For now, just use the close method now. So let's save this file and run it now. As you can see, it displays all the contents from the file, that is hey hello, how are you, hi and hello. You can also specify the characters that you want to fetch. If I specify 5, it will only display the 5 characters from the file. You can also change that to 10. As you can see, now it displays the 10 characters from the file. You can also read the file by line. As you can see, for this you will use the read line. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, it displays the first line only. You can use this read line method to fetch the individual lines from the file. If you use the read line method one time, it will only display first line from the file. If you want to fetch all the lines from the file, you will have to use the while loop. While text, we will print our text here, and then we will again call the read line. Let's close our file now. So file dot read line. As you can see, it displays all the lines individually. We are accessing the each line line by line. This is how you access the individual line using the read line method. You can also use the read lines. So let's use the read lines. Let's print our text now. As you can see, it displays individual lines inside this list of data type. We can also specify the number of characters you want to fetch inside this read line method. If you want to display 5 here, as you can see, it will only fetch 5 characters from that line. You can also change the number 10. As you can see, it displays hey hello. So this is how you read the contents from the file using the read method, and then we have the read line, and then we will have the read lines method. Now we have seen how to read the contents from the file. Let us see how to write some content back to the file. For this, we will use the write method. Write, and inside this parenthesis, you will use the content here hello. So let's save this file and run now. Now as you can see, you will get a error that you are opening this file in write mode, but you try to write some content back to the file. The error says unsupported operation not writable. So you will have to open the file in write mode. So let's save this file and run now. As you can see, the Python file executed successfully. So now we have write the contents on the file. Let's also verify this by opening the file here. As you can see, the contents has been modified to hello. But the problem here is that the previous contents has been erased. The write method will overwrite all the existing contents and it will overwrite the file. This is the problem in using the write method. For this we will use the append method. The append method will add the new content at the end of the file. For example, if you try to add hey here, so let's save this file and run out. Now let's close this file and reopen now. As you can see, displays hello hey. Hey has been added at the end of the file. This is the difference between opening a file in write mode and opening a file in append mode. So this is how you write some content back to the file, whether you open the file in write mode or whether you open the file in append mode. The difference here is that when you open a file in write mode, it will overwrite all the contents in the existing file. So this is a problem. To resolve this, we will open the file in append mode. The append mode, if you write a content to the file, it will only add the content at the end of the file. Now we have seen how to open a file and how to read the contents from the file and how to write some contents back to the file. And the important thing I want to discuss here is that you have to manually close the file each time whenever you open a file. As you can see, you open a file, you close the file. So this is a time consuming problem, right? To resolve this, we have a new syntax for opening a file. This time we will use the with keyword and then we will use the open. So you will do the same as before, and for the second parameter you will pass the file mode, and now for the variable you will use the as keyword and then you will give a file name. This file will contain the file object. So let me explain the syntax here. Instead of closing the file manually each time whenever you open the file, this with method will close the file implicitly. You don't have to close it. The with keyword will close the file when the Python reaches the end of the line. So this is the advantage of using the with open. And here the file indicates that it will contain the file object. In the previous step, as you can see, we are storing the file object in here. We are storing the file object here. But in the using the with open keyword, you are storing the file object in the as file here. This file will contain the file object. After this, you can perform all the operation that you do earlier. For example, text equal to file dot read. You can print the text here. So let's save this and run out. As you can see, it displays all the text from the file. You can also perform the read line. As you can see, it displays the individual line. You can also do the read lines. As you can see, it displays the individual line in a list data type. So yeah, this is the all the operations that are available for the file handling that is there. So that is the opening a file, writing some content back to the file and closing the file. Now let us move on to how to rename the file. So we have the file here, right? We have the file and file name of the file is python.txt. You can change this file name inside the Python file. For this we will use the OS module. Import OS module. The OS module has a method, right, something called the rename. This takes two parameters. The first one is the current file name. The current file name is the python.txt and you will specify the new file name. The new file name will be py.txt. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, the file name has been updated. Previously we have the python.txt. Now the file name has been changed to py.txt. This is how you rename a file using the rename method. You can also delete the file using the remove method. So let's close this. This will only take the one argument, that is the file name. So let's save this and run out. So as you can see, the file has been deleted. Now let us move on to the directories. Let us see how to create a new folder in Python. For this, we will use the make dir. This is a make directory. You can specify the name for your folder, in this case Python. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, a new folder has been created, that is Python. Inside this Python folder we don't have anything. You can also use the get current working directory. Currently we are working inside the desktop because the file is inside the desktop here. You can verify this using the get current working directory method. So let's save this inside the variable and print our cwd. So let's remove the argument from the get current working directory. As you can see, it displays we are inside the desktop. You can change the current working directory by using the change dir. It will change the directory to something else. For example, if you want to change the current working directory to documents, we can do that here. Let's make this string as a raw string. So let's save this and run now. As you can see, let's print our current working directory now. cwd equal to os dot get cwd. So as you can see, the current working directory has been moved to the documents. You can also remove here. So let's clear this. You can also remove the folder that you have created here. So for this you will use the remove dir, and inside this remove dir you will pass the folder name, that is Python. As you can see, the Python folder has been deleted. So these are the operations that are available under the directories. So to conclude that, in this video we have discussed the following topics. We have seen the open method to open a file in Python, and we have discussed the different open modes available in Python, that is the read mode, write mode and open mode. We have also discussed the read method to read the contents from the file, and we have seen how to write some content to the existing file, and we have also seen how to close the file using the close method. Instead of closing the file manually, we have seen the with open keyword, and finally we have seen how to rename a file and delete the existing file. And for the directories, we have seen how to create a new folder and how to check the current working directory, and we have seen how to change the current working directory, and finally we discussed the how to remove the folder in Python. So these are the file operations available in Python.